Mr. Odie. He'll be such a special doggy. He's my first doggy. He's my first doggy. I've never had I tell you guys, when I first got Mr. Otis from my daughter, I would not touch this dog. And when I did touch him, I had to wear gloves. I know it sounds ridiculous. But that was the mindset of my ignorance back then. And just like I was open to learning about the dog, getting to know the dog, it opened my mind up and I got out of my stupidness. Yes. And I know stupidness is not a word. Don't tell me, because I know I'm using it because it's not a word in the context of it being stupid. It's stupidness. Oh, and this is the t-shirt. Look what it says. It says, Namaste in bed. You know what that means? Namaste in bed. That's kind of like, I'm just going to stay in the bed. I'm going to stay in the bed because he'll sleep all day. Yes, he sleeps all day, Mr. Odie. Namaste in bed. Yes, namaste. Namaste in bed. Okay, getting into our article today. So what is going on with Harry? What is going on with Harry thinking he can come over here as a person of nobility who has inherited privilege that follows him wherever he goes? He wants to take this very thing that he was born with, something that he did not earn, but he wants to have this nobility of royalty follow him so that he can have these doors open to spew his nonsense. Have your nobility open doors up for someone who has not been born into privilege, perhaps maybe even a future leader that would represent the ideals and life of someone of a Nelson Mandela, someone that is up and coming. You could easily bestow upon someone with less inherited privilege and have them be the one that you help to give a platform to. If you really wanted to make it about doing the right thing, but instead Prince Harry, a very wealthy, inherited wealth of nobility man, gets up there on the stage to try to represent something from Nelson Mandela, and it just doesn't go over well because of who he is, where he has come from. And the fact that you are doing these things in America when we had war to get rid of this from King George. Why is it that we are starting to hear things from some man over in Great Britain, who, by the way, represents the Queen still on the website, check it out, and saying these things about our democracy? But we know what has happened here. It was his wife saying to him, come on now, Harry, we got to say these things. We got to say this and we got to say that. And you could tell Harry was not comfortable. He looked completely miserable. His pauses in between the things that he was saying was way too long. He looked out of place. And the other thing is he has done this because Netflix secured this deal for him to have this speech on this platform so that he could have content, speak about something that was going to open up other platforms for him. It was secured by Netflix. Now you tell me, is this someone who is really saying something because he means it or because he is the right person to say it in this position? No, it's all for entertainment. And we know the entertainment realm of this couple comes from Meghan, because she is the one who is trying to show her Hollywood folk that she is now trying to break into entertainment again with this royalty on her finger. Twitter tars and feathers Prince Harry for condescending UN against America. Go home, little boy. So conservative Twitter users tore Prince Harry apart after the British royal gave condescending speech trashing the Supreme Court's reversal of Roe versus Wade during his UN summit on International Nelson Mandela Day. During the Monday speech, Harry seemed to take aim at conservative policies. He claimed that the rolling back of constitutional rights in the United States, in addition, mind you, to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, represent a global assault on democracy and freedom. Considering that Harry and his wife, actress Meghan Markle, champion progressive causes, the implication in his speech seemed to refer to the Supreme Court's Dobbs versus Jackson abortion ruling. Conservatives online read between the lines and reminded Prince Harry exactly how Americans feel about the British being involved in their politics. And I'm glad people voiced their opinions about this, because it just shows you that Meghan is willing to put her husband out there to look like a complete fool to enhance her star celebrity. Because it's like, going out there, honey, because what you say, what you represent out there just makes me look good because I'm your wife. Yes, I'm your wife. Go on out there, Harry, do your UN speech, because it just looks so good, and listening to what he was saying does not reflect well on him as a person or the monarchy. Like, this has to be stopped. You cannot see what is happening in America with Harry and Meghan and not think that something needs to happen with his title. Like, he needs to be put in his place. The Queen needs to give him a smackdown. And as a matter of fact, I think it's time to bring out the Queen. This is my Queen, and my fairy dust Queen is represented on this right here. And she needs to smack it down, because he ain't got no business being up there giving a UN speech talking nonsense about our democracies and our freedoms over here in America, when his butt don't even belong in this country. He ain't even a citizen of America. You can't even come over here and telling us what we need to do as Americans, because you don't even belong here, and you need to get to stepping and get your butt back on over there, because you're making a lot of people mad. You are not doing anything to help your profile. And you have your wife to credit for everything that you're going through. He looks miserable, and he needs to go through this misery, because this is the misery that's going to help snap him out of his stupidness. He needs to be going through his misery, because it's going to show him that this is not your place. But we can see that this is a man who knows he should not be saying the things that he is saying. And the fact that he is allowing his wife to be his puppeteer, to allow him to get up there and puppet him to say all these things that, that he should not be saying, he is leading to a place of self-destruction. He is going to find himself hurting in a very, very bad way, because coming out of what he has created, unless he just kind of goes to sleep and fades off into oblivion and doesn't say anything, but the more he tries to perpetuate what he is doing, the more he tries to make what he is doing make sense, the more that he continues to do the things that he is doing to be his new reality, the more in decline and self-destruction he is going to find himself in. The train crashed when they went over and did that Oprah interview. We're looking at it an apocalyptic destruction now at this point, because you cannot come to America with your baggage of who you are and what you really represent. Although you don't want to think you do, you do. You cannot say these things without detrimental demise and destruction to yourself. And you're not in a very mental state of mind anyway. It's going to put you in a very, very bad place. And I have to say, when I see this, I feel really uncomfortable. I feel like, oh no, what you doing? What are you doing, Prince Harry? And all the articles that came out about this, there were even articles from Forbes. There was an article that, people really are coming out of the woodwork talking about this. They're saying nothing good came out of this. And you would think that he would try to give his mother some kind of good representation by just shutting his mouth up. Like, sometimes your good is saying nothing. Sometimes you can do the most good by just don't say nothing. That's where your good comes from. But it's his wife who's got him up there saying, so it's like, go ahead, Harry, say something, Harry. You gotta make me look good, Harry. Harry, because I'm the Duchess. Yes, I'm the Duchess, and you got to get up there and you got to make me look good. Now, going up there and say something. As a matter of fact, let me just write it out what you got to say. Let me just write it out for you, Prince Harry. Let me see. Get up there and talk about our democracies and our freedoms. Talk about all these things. Now, going up there and say it, Harry. Just say it. And he's like, okay, yes, love. Yes, love. And then he gets up there and he says things and doesn't even look comfortable saying it. How can you persuade us to think that you are all about preserving or contributing to the good of humanity? You have done nothing to show your good humanity when it has been most beneficial for you to do, because you're reminded of it by your own family. Even Meghan was told to go try to make peace with your father. She decided not to. Because of that choice, because of what they continue to do and spew the hate, the negativity within their own circle and families, they will forever be encircled with the worst version of who they represent when it comes to humanity. Swallow your ego, go do the right thing. And until that happens, you cannot talk to anybody about humanity because you represent the worst of humanity within your own personal circle. But let's get back to the story, shall we? Because the deception and deceit can go off onto many trails of nonsense. It's like all these trails, dead ends to a bunch of nonsense. But let's try to stay on point, like focus. Because, girl, I can get distracted because of a lot of nonsense is within these stories, explaining and explanations, because it's just everywhere. The nonsense is all over. It's just like a bad dream. It's like a horror story. It's like, oh no, what this? It's like I can't take it. It just goes off into a bunch of craziness that I'm trying to contain, and trying to contain it is the struggle that I face. That's my struggle. My reality is trying to contain the horror of all the nonsense that's spewing from this couple. But let's try to stay on point, shall we? Let's just try to stay on point. Yes. Let me sprinkle some of the Queen's Fairy dust on me. Yes. I pretend nobility. Yes, there we go. Good. Yes. Okay, back on point. And can we just talk about the people that showed up at this UN speech? It was optional to come. And a lot of people chose, I ain't going. I am not going. And I think that's a good thing for Harry, because he needs to feel the disappointment of people not coming to listen to him speak. Because I think that is really the only way to really show that what you have to say is not important. Don't show up. Don't show up. Because that's teaching Harry a lesson that he should not be speaking. He needs to shut his mouth. Symbolically, that is a good thing.